Well, America, you do not have a real third party because the biggest third party in America is actually a sham party who represents the interests of the wealthy. And literally, by voting for libertarianism, you are voting for social Darwinism, the survival of the few and the tyranny of the wealthy's power through their money. The Libertarian Party in Gematria equals 81. This is what they are. They're shills of the rich, because every social program that benefits as many people as can be, libertarians want to cut. They want to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Practically any program that benefits America. They do not want any government spending. Although there is some spending out there that is benefiting corporations because of all their campaign donations, even the money that's being spent for causes that help your ordinary American, libertarians want to cut. That includes aid for our veterans, that includes Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. Libertarians do not support campaign finance reform. You know, it's just freedom of the wealthy to spend as much money as they want because, oh, it's their freedom, they have the right to. Libertarians, money is not speech. Money is influence. The libertarians are shills. They want to monopolize power for the wealthy. That is the end goal of libertarianism, is to create a rogue corporate state. And that is the end game of right-wing ideology as a whole. Libertarian Party, shills of the rich, benefits the wealthy, tyrannical economy, all equal 81 in Gematria, sharing this common relationship revealed through the Kabbalah. But get all of this, that equals 207. Tyrannical economy benefits the wealthy. Who exactly benefits the shareholder? That is the premise of right-wing ideology. Right-wing ideology is corporate economics. Economics that only benefits the few, benefits the shareholders, and does not benefit the masses. So right-wingers practice fake economics. They practice voodoo economics in George H.W. Bush's words. That will be referenced in the description. It is no coincidence that tyrannical economy benefiting the shareholder and corporate economics all equal 207. It is no coincidence. It is all by design. Corporate economics, what is it? Corporate economics equals 90. Exploit the workers, pay them as little as can be, the masses of people employed by your company to benefit the very few shareholders, benefiting only a very small percentage of people. Nope, that is not the real definition of economics that is being put into practice. Economics is the efficient allocation of resources to as many people as can be. The real definition of economics, well, as you know, the right wing does not believe in that definition of economics. Benefit the investor, exploit the workers, corporate economics, all equal 90. They go hand in hand together. Likewise, it is the economy of the few. Right-wing economics, tax breaks for the rich, supply side is a scam, which is the Trump economy today. Which is what the end game is all about, is putting power into the hands of the few, into the corporations that control the political process with all of their unlimited campaign spending. Libertarians support unlimited campaign spending. They are shills of the establishment. This is what they are. This is what the Gary Johnsons of the world are all about. Right-wing fascists, evil corporations. This is what the economy of the few is all about, is monopolizing power to the hands of the very few out there, the people who control the political system, the donors. Funny how right-wing fascists, evil corporations, and when libertarians are very deceptive. Libertarians are very deceptive people. What they really mean by freedom is is what is in the interests of their party donors. When they say freedom, they do not mean put power into your own hands. What libertarians mean by freedom is the freedom of big business and large multinational corporations to exploit. Freedom to exploit evil corporations, right-wing fascists, all equal 85. So don't listen to these liars when they tell you that they're all about your freedom and your interests. They're all about corporate interests. Libertarian cult equals 66. You know, the libertarian cult is all surrounded on freedom, and what they don't realize is freedom, freedom. When they mindlessly shout freedom like a redneck would in the South, they don't realize that this freedom that they are supporting the corporation's freedom to exploit their workers and the general population by cutting every social program that has benefited America over the last 50 years. And libertarianism was a front that was started by big business lobbyists. Foundation for Economic Education, which is supported by Fortune 500 companies, helped launch libertarianism. November 9th, interesting enough, was the day that Donald Trump was announced the winner of the election. Saw the Milton Friedman Centennial celebration at the University of Chicago. One episode in Friedman's career not to celebrate took place in 1946, the same year Friedman began peddling his pro-business free market ideology. According to congressional hearings on illegal lobbying activities, 46 was the year that Friedman and his Chicago cohort, George Stigler, arranged an under-the-table deal with a Washington lobbying executive to pump out covert propaganda for the national real estate lobby in exchange for a hefty payout, the terms of which were never meant to be released to the public. So that is the real Milton Friedman, a lobbyist of the deep state. The arrangement between Friedman and Stigler with the Washington real estate lobbyists was finally revealed during the Buchanan Committee hearings on illegal lobbying activities in 1950. But then it was almost entirely, quote-unquote, forgotten, including apparently by those celebrating the Milton Friedman Centennial last week in Chicago. So this is what Milton Friedman and the Libertarian Party is all about, is representing corporate interests. Even the renowned law and economics movement at the U of Chicago was in its inception heavily subsidized by big business. So these movements, these far-right libertarian movements, were all fronts for big business. This whole story here can be detailed in this article here, The Scam of Libertarianism, and there is one more article that I'm going to post into the description. This is what libertarianism is all about, is economics of the very wealthy and the powerful. Sociopathic equals 55, which is what a libertarian is in its ideology. Libertarian, useful idiot of the wealthy. So price-side economics is a scam. The tyranny of the wealthy benefits a shareholder. Right-wing propaganda, all equal 109. The libertarians is just another front for the GOP to support, just in case if their party loses support, because it has over the last 8 years. Libertarianism, in effect, is republicanism while supporting social issues, which is what the Libertarian Party is all about. It's going to support the younger generation. But mark my words, the Libertarian Party ever becomes mainstream, which is still a shill party, it will represent those interests at the very top of the pyramid. So this is what libertarianism is all about. Notice how libertarian, moron, and tax cuts for the wealth equal 85. Libertarians don't believe in empirical evidence when forming opinions on the economy. They just support the ideology and the feel-good, the feel-good position of, freedom, freedom is good, freedom and beauty and prosperity, without any empirical evidence to support their positions. like mass unemployment and the minimum wage. Over the course of time, there's no evidence to support that. There's no evidence that tax cuts for the wealthy produces a correlation to economic growth, GDP growth. No evidence, right? No empirical evidence. Real economists use empirical evidence. Tax cuts for the wealthy and all of this repatriation from overseas. Nah, share buybacks happen. I can link that to the description as well. It's what the Libertarian Party is all about, concentrating the wealth into the hands of the top tenth of 1%. The Libertarian Party, corporate propaganda, it is all one end game for the Freemasons at the top. Freemasons and knowledge both equal 96. This is the economy of the Zionists. The Zionist bankers that like to print money and loan it to governments. Well, when you cut taxes for the wealthy and you spend the same amount of money, what happens? You have to borrow from the Fed. The economy is rigged for the top 1%. This is what happens in a right-wing economy and libertarian economists. Kabbalah, the universal code of the Grand Architect, reveals the truth and the real meaning of life, as a matter of fact. Social Darwin, libertarians, this is what they believe. Social Darwin, libertarians equal 56. Ronald Reagan, Mr. Friedman, economics that they spill equals 56. Supply sider equals 56 too. Get this, Donald Trump's birthday is on June the 14th, the 14th day of the 6th month. It is supply side is economic propaganda. Ronald Wilson Reagan is the debt king. Before Donald Trump, President Donald John Trump is evil for supporting the rich and wanting to cut health care for millions of people in America. The economy that Trump is all about is the economy that pops up bubbles and benefits people like him when the real estate market collapses. Rigged economics. Supply side equals 146. And get this. The Libertarian in the last couple of elections to show the wealthy, Hillary Clinton is a good person or whatever on his interviews with CNN, it is Gary Johnson that equals 146 and 56. A shill of the rich. That's what Gary Johnson is. This is why Gary Johnson was catering to Donald Trump when he said that burqa should be banned. The guy is a shill. Libertarians are shills. They are right-wingers. They cater to Republicans. They cater to the economic interests of the very few, the top tenth of 1%. Trickle down economy and supply side economics, which is economic propaganda. You have to be an illiterate of economics to believe it. Retards believed him. He's going to cut the deficit. He's going to reduce the deficit. He hasn't done that. Tax cut equals 89. The GOP is ignorant because you know why? The wealthy and the moron Donald Trump, he never intended for the tax cuts to benefit the workers because of tariffs. Importers or exporters do not pay for the tariffs. The consumer does. You spend it, dumb fuck. Go to Walmart and see what happens, you redneck Trump hillbillies. You people that are just willfully ignorant that want to support the same failed propaganda of the wealthy that the retards will still insist on believing because they are ignorant to the core. This is why the GOP is ignorant about basic economics and demand, creating jobs and fostering economic growth. This aggregate demand is more money into the consumer's hands, which still works its way up to the wealthy. That's not socialism. That's not concentrating profits away from the rich. The money still works its way to the top. When the people on the bottom spend it and maximize GDP growth throughout. Big business causing recessions and class warfare and spewing the same propaganda in regards to trickle-down economics and tax cuts for the wealthy who spend a lower percentage of their money fostering growth. We know it's not true because we are in a $1 trillion deficit. No additional growth after this tax cut scam It is a scam passed by Republicans to benefit the wealthy, to create the stock market bubble, to prop it up, and ba-boom, the crash in 2019. Oh, when do we hear this before? Oh, it's going to pay for itself. What about in the past? Was that people forget that with Ronald Reagan, he's the big tax increaser. Because his tax cuts were a big disaster. America immediately plunged into recession in the year 81. The year 81, you ask? Remember this. Tyrannical economy benefits the wealthy, the Libertarian Party. They know that their economics is shill economics. That it's all a scam to concentrate short-term profits into the hands of the wealthy. Ronald Reagan raised taxes over 10 times during the course of his presidency. House Democrats helped Reagan reduce the deficit after the disastrous 1981 bill that slashed the top income rate from 70 to 28. A big disaster indeed. You know these economics are show economics. Don't buy into the propaganda. It is all propaganda of the wealthy. This is what right-wing economics is in the Libertarian Party and the Republican Party. Don't repeat history, or else we are doomed to repeat it and to not to learn from history and to make America better for tomorrow.